broadcasting live from an undisclosed location in the universe. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live, the show where metaphysics, holistic living, motivation, and inspiration come together to empower your mind, body, and soul. We will dive deep into the realms of metaphysical wisdom, exploring the fascinating connections between mind and matter. Get ready to ignite your inner spark and embrace a journey of self-discovery. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
What's going on, guys? Iggy here. Iggy Garcia Live, episode 208. Connecting with nature. That's what we're going to talk about today. So hopefully you can stay with me for a little bit and we can talk a little bit about nature and what it brings to us. But before we start, like we do every show, we're going to start by lighting a candle. Just remembering those who came before us, our ancestors, the people that we miss, we love, we honor, the people who stand behind us, the people who shared with us, our ancestors, our elders, as we begin to move into eldership ourselves, as we become older each and every day. Each day we become elders to somebody or someone. So this is a recognition and remembrance and honoring those folks who try to teach us some things, that try to navigate us in the right direction and teach us things that we needed in order for us to grow and in order for us to just kind of see how life is. And for as many people, they have their version of what and how we should live life, but in the end, you have to make your own decision how that works. So we honor the ancestors. We give thanks. We honor our Creator. We thank Creator for the moments that we have to be able to share and love and honor one another in the way we do. So we raise this candle. We give thanks. Oh. We also burn some sage, since we create space, sacred space, and while we're talking on our shows, we give thanks to Creator. We give thanks to Mother Earth. We give thanks to those things seen and unseen that are good, and we ask the Creator recycle the negative energies that no longer serve us or serve this world. So we give thanks. Let that burn a little bit while the show is going. So how you guys doing today? Doing well? Okay, good. It's good to hear. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Iggy Garcia. I've been doing podcasts since, I don't even remember. This is 208 of episodes that I've done. I've done thousands with my sister and brothers and friends and family as well. But this is an opportunity to be able to share my thoughts, my feelings. I have a show on that broadcasts on Facebook right now live, and it's also on TikTok. And we also have the feeds that go out into YouTube after the show is recorded. There's several different types of topics there. We have the Mind of Iggy, where it's a spontaneous rant, where I just go and talk about whatever is on my mind in that moment. But this show is more dedicated to, more direction and more, teaching and sharing and honoring and just having discussion. And be able to share for those of you who are able to navigate and able to share online. Please do so. I think I have everything online ready to go. Looks like everybody's good. But yeah, so anytime that you guys are wanting to have any questions or whatever, let me know. I probably most likely will not bring anybody online unless I know them and who they are. And this topic is more about just sharing thoughts and beliefs. So today we're going to be talking about connecting with nature. But before we do that, I want to thank everybody who came out to Ash Cave on Sunday. I'd have to believe there was about 500 people there throughout the day or one given time. It was pretty amazing, pretty stoked how that worked out. We had an amazing time, able to share with everybody. The gift of drumming, gift of dance, gift of laughter, in communion, and just being in connection with people. I mean, what else? What else can you ask for? You're out in nature and just dancing and drumming and having an amazing time. So for those of you who made out, thank you for coming as well. And we have several events coming up. So if you want to join Iggy Garcia's newsletter, you can go to my website, iggygarcia.com, or you can just go on Facebook. You can connect there. You can connect at Drum Circles and Sounds. That's that Central Ohio Drum Circles and Sounds, because that's where we have the hub where everybody posts their stuff. So if when you want to be able to post things, please go ahead and post your drum events, your sound bowl events, anything that has to do with sound, anything that creates sound in a positive light. We ask that you share there, and that's kind of what we've created. So we also have the Condor Eagle Drum Society, and we also have Ohio Drum Circles. So you can join those groups as well and be able to be connected and stay connected to when all our events are. I do have an event coming up for drumming this weekend at the Gahanna Library in Gahanna, Ohio, at 2 p.m. It's a grief counseling drumming for folks who are grieving loss of any kind of sort of loss, where there's pain or you're feeling disconnected. But it's open to the public, so it's open to everybody to come and drum and share. I just want everybody to be mindful that the premise of it is also to celebrate life, the life that's been lost, the life that's that's no longer is with us, and we honor them in a different light, in a different way. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So that's a couple, plugs there. So like I said, you can check my stuff out at iggygarcia.com or on Facebook. You won't be able to friend me because I have too many friend requests, too many people. So, but you can follow my page though as well. You can follow me and subscribe on YouTube, and you can kind of keep up with the things that I'm doing, where I'm going. So, those of you who've been trying to friend me, I apologize that I just don't have any more room on my page until people drop off or no longer want to be connected to me in some way or another. But it's not that I'm not trying to connect with you. It's just that I just don't have any more availability to connect. I think 5,000 people is the max, I believe, on Facebook. But I'm here on TikTok. I'm also here on Instagram. I'm in different platforms, so you can connect with them on all those platforms if you can. That way, you're able to stay in contact with me about the things and events we're doing, the classes and things we're sharing, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening. Summer for me, spring and summer's started. It's on. We're ready to go. We're ready to fly, and we have a lot of events coming up. And the only way I can keep track is by you just kind of looking at my calendar. My calendar's posted on iggygarcia.com. And if you go to events page, you can see the stuff that I'm doing and the drumming I'm doing. So what's it mean to be connected? What's it mean to be connected to spirit? What's it mean to be connected to the animals and the guides and the things that you do? Now, the work that I do, through shamanic practices, I learned from my family. I've learned from my teachers in Peru. I've learned from teachers here in the United States. I've learned from indigenous medicine men and women here in the United States as well. And I've been taught a lot of different modalities and a lot of different ceremonies and stuff that are very sacred, very personal to me. But one of the things that I understand and what I've learned to come to be aware of is, the connection to Mother Earth and connecting to the grounding energies that she has for us, and the willingness to help us heal. There's an old saying that, I think Bill Mollison used to say, all the that all shoot, I forgot, I got distracted there. That all healing is, you can find in your garden. It's something along that lines. My phone rang inside my headphones and just distracted me, so I didn't put it on that sleep mode there. But anyways, yeah, so all everything that we need is in our garden. Everything we need is in Mother Earth. Mother Earth has all the potentials of healing, because when you look at modern medicine, they extrapolate the certain components from Mother Nature, in order for them to patent it and to create it and you own it, right? But they don't take the whole plant because they don't feel like it's all purpose. They want the concentrated portion of it, however it's supposed to help you. But see, the thing is, when you take components from nature and you know, you redesign them and you create them in a different form, it's not meant to be that way. It's meant to be used a certain way. Some plants are meant to be used with all the roots to the stems to the leaves. And if you just take the leaves, you're only going to get a certain effect to a certain degree. And so that's why I think it's important, that I know a lot of people put a lot of faith in pharmaceuticals and different stuff, and that's your choice, and that's your well doing, however you want to be. But there's so much healing and medicine healing in the world, if we open up our eyes to the fact that most of these medicines come from the earth. There's nothing that doesn't come from the earth. And if you have studied anything about, healing modalities or, herbology and stuff like that, you'll find that it all is from Mother Nature. There's everything from this sentient being that we call Pachamama, the earth, the sacred mother. She's here to help us. She's sacred medicine. You know, it's all plant medicine. Everything has its purpose. Everything has its place. You know, plant medicine is not just psychotropic plants that make you have visions and hallucinations. You can also, have the health benefits of taking, eating, the vegetables, fruits, and mushrooms, and all kinds of stuff that will help you and keep you healing. So there's a big myth that you have to go onto the spiritual journey with ayahuasca or San Pedro or whatever in order to obtain that. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. It's an accelerated version of doing that, yes, but there's different ways to obtain. There's different ways to unlock ourselves through just eating different types of foods and different types of modalities, different types of rituals. And that's what I'm here just talk a little bit about that, because so many of us don't understand that, how potent and how powerful are the foods that we eat and what they do for our body. Now, I'm not here to tell you you have to eat one way or another. That's your choice. You're going to have to make that decision for yourself. What's best for you, what's going to heal you, what's going to center you. Because if you don't do the work, someone else is going to do the work for you. Always remember, if you're not wanting to do the things that you need to do for your life in order to make it better or to make it more comfortable for you, the other people are going to make choice for you. And what is that? They're going to design foods. They're going to fabricate packaging. They're going to sell you fast food, restaurant food. It doesn't matter where you go. Grocery store. The grocery store is a very tricky place to be. You can go to the Whole Foods, you can go to Kroger's, and you can navigate that store and still come out with some crap. Now, your chances maybe going to Whole Foods are better. I don't know. As you read labels and stuff, things don't really show you that much. But then vegetables and fruits and certain stuff, you really got to check and see where they come from. Where are you buying them from? Because most of the times you buy these products and they call them, certified organic. There's a different word. Certified organic is one thing, but all things that grow from the earth are organic. And this is the myth, and this is the thing that's been sold and pumped into us, that we have to have organic food. When you say organic, it means that the things that you are eating and putting in your mouth are organic. Now, things that are certified or, been, tested or whatever, that you are able to eat that because it's guaranteed that they're not using either herbicide or pesticide or something in order to keep that food from being eaten by another creature, or, such and such and such. It's very important to know that what you're buying and who you're buying from, and know your farmer. This is something that I learned. I know it's a lot of work and I know it takes time for some people, but if you really truly want to, connect with your food, then you really need to know where it comes from. That includes your meats as well. The majority of our meats comes from slaughterhouses and from some facility where the animal has suffered and has gone through a rigorous, inoculation to keep it from getting sick or keep it from having parasites and worms and stuff. I'm not here to gross you. I'm not here to tell you to be vegetarian or vegan. I'm not telling you don't have to stop eating meat. The only thing I'm just saying is understand that the things that we're eating, we must ask and we must pray over our food. We must, give ceremony to our food and be grateful for our food, because we can change the frequency of our food. And if you don't believe that, that's because you haven't been taught that. We can actually take and change the frequency over our food by praying over. That's why we pray before we eat. Those of you who are, from a Christian background or some other type of background, they praise over the food because we give gratitude to the foods we eat. That connection to our food. Will it change it completely? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know in the molecular structure of the food, but I do believe like there's spontaneous healing, spontaneous, love and whatever, you see. I think that we can also have a spontaneous connection to our food where we connect with our food. A sacred contract with the animals. There are a lot of people who say I don't eat meat, and that's fine. But we do have a sacred contract with these beings that we eat, even plants. When we eat plants, we have a sacred connection with them. We have a sacred, connection to them and say, hey, I'm going to eat you and I'm going to benefit from you. Your cows, your animals, your corn, anything they eat, they have a connection to plant medicine too. So the animal that you're eating most likely ate some kind of grain, some kind of uh, plant, or some kind of grass, or whatever. And that is where the connection comes in. So many times when these animals are being fed, there's no connection, there's no prayer, there's no ceremony for the food. The United States is very, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other countries too, but in this country, I can't, I'm gonna reach out here and say we really don't do a lot of ceremony on our food. We don't really give like blessings on our food. We don't even bless the lands that we take or we've taken overrun with apartments and buildings. You know, Mother Nature has to be acknowledged and be given thanks for. It's not all about the mighty dollar and profit. The reason some plans don't do well, or why some things don't grow in certain areas, or why things is because there's a disconnect from Mother Earth between humans and Earth. Can there be a disconnect? Yeah, absolutely. Giving thanks and gratitude every day. One of the things that we've forgotten is we come from that connection, and we sever that connection as we build and grow and become, the massive force on this planet. We become this entity that's out of control. We manipulate and take everything from her, and we use her, and we drain her. There's a lot of things we can complain about in the world, but the thing is knowing our own personal space, our own garden. Even when we have our yards, we have our neighbor who's spraying, lawn fertilizer or weed killer in the yard, and that stuff seeps into your yard. Even though you're trying to be clean and you're trying to have an environment of health, it's hard to get away from. And I get it. And then the toxicities that you have in the air and the things that come, even the way they plant trees these days, you know, these trees aren't made to connect and bloom together. They're made only to, pollinate and pollinate and pollinate. Most of your trees that you see out in the world are all male trees, and they're just pollinating and throwing, pollen and pollen and pollen in order to, pollinate other trees or other plants. And that's why it affects us personally as human beings. We are affected by the things that we spray, the things that we put in the ground. But why don't more people do anything about it? Well, a lot of it has to do because of just habit and cultures and beliefs and ideologies and things. And I will never in my personal life will ever say, it's good to be this way or good to be that way. It's what centers you, it's what focuses you, whatever makes you who you are. If you feel like you need to be vegetarian, then be vegetarian. And honor that space. If you feel like you need to be vegan, then honor that space. You feel you need to be a carnivore, then honor that space. Just know by honoring the space that you're in the lifestyle you're in, it's very vitally important. In shamanism that I study, you're connected to everything. Everything has purpose. Everything has been repurposed. The process of repurposing and recreating things is a valuable thing in the shamanic practice. We look at different things and we look at, different ideas and beliefs, and they don't really think about, the trees. They don't really think about the animals. They just slaughter them, and we just process them and eat them, and that's it. But it's all because of education. It's all because of foundation, where you come from, and the ideas and beliefs is why we are so, you know, compartmentalized between groups and separated. It's because we learn things a certain way. Now, I can't say that I was perfect, but I had to learn things along the way, and I learned the things that I could or couldn't do. And one of my biggest hobbies that I had as a child, I'll show you real quick, is making these little micro worlds. I made these little micro worlds. I call them they're terrariums, and these are from X bottles of a Starbucks that I've used from time to time. And I put little plant life in it. You can see. And then you can see the different plants that I have growing. Just wanted to share with you. And in this environment, this little plant can grow very strong, very powerful. And eventually, I might even open them up and let them grow out, kind of like a little pot. I don't have any decided yet. I'm trying to see. And here's my fern one. These are just ideas I do. This is just putting life in a bottle, kind of like the world, the Earth with its atmosphere. It's creating its own little atmosphere and all creating its own little world in there. Some make it, some don't. But I've done it from time to time. I feel like the calling to do that here as an adult. 50-year-old man creating my little world, mini worlds. But Mother Earth is one of the most crucial things. Without her, we don't live. Sure, God with without Creator, God, creation, whatever you call it, we don't live, right. But the most crucial point is we just become a different existence. If Earth was no longer Earth, we'd adapt, we'd recreate ourselves, or we would perish. That's the basic foundation of what happens if we're going to survive anything. So there are plants that we can't eat, and there's plants that we can eat. There's plants that are companion plants that grow with different things. Connecting with all those animals and connecting with all those plants is important. You know, I I've heard many times people say if you can't grow it, you don't eat it. But you can help raise an animal. You can help raise plants and stuff. But a lot of things that we grow don't just grow in nature naturally. A lot of things have been cross generated over the years. You know, corn is actually a grass that has been bred up by the indigenous people of South America. Over the course of time, they just kept getting bigger, bigger, bigger. And so it just got this blade of grass got bigger and became food. And is that GMO? You're modifying the food, but you're not like chemically changing it. You're crossbreeding specimens and species of plants in order to grow and make something bigger. And that's how we get our corn. The majority of our corn is that. Some are GMO, yeah. But like I talked in previous shows, in Hawaii they were growing papayas, and the papayas had a disease, and they had to generally modify them because the papaya was going to no longer exist in Hawaii. So that's how I think GMOs have a place, but the GMOs get a bad rap because of the wording. Some things have been saved because of genetically modifying them, and then some of them have been abused. To the extent of that we have like bananas, for example. I watched a YouTube video about the Banana Republic, right? How bananas are just created and shifted and changed the world. I was shocked how the bananas changed the world, and how bananas, just became this thing where became so popular that it was it had its own currency, the Banana Republics, where you could use their money because they were so powerful, and they're still powerful to today. And you should do some research on it. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but go online and study and read up about the modern day banana, where it came from. History is amazing. It's beautiful when you can do the research and have other people have done the research. There's so many things I've learned just by exploring the world from different accounts and different people sharing their thoughts and beliefs, that I was solely shocked by how the banana came to be. And the banana has suffered a lot of disease because it's become monocultured. It's a crossbred. But the banana that you eat today is not the same banana and then what it looked like before. Do some research, do some digging on it. You'll be surprised. You'll love it. I think it's an amazing story. I was like totally blown away by it. But here in our gardens, if you look here in our yards, you go outside, there are plenty of plants. And then you go to the side of the road, there are plenty of plants that are good for you. You'll have to do some studying and working and some ideas about what to do, what's good for you, what to eat, where to eat it from. Dandelions are a powerful source of nourishment and nutrition and cleansing modalities for your liver and other different things. There's just all kinds of stuff out there. So I'm also here want to share with you the connection with you're connecting with spirit, connecting with animals. When I plant my seeds, I'll actually take the saliva from my mouth, squish them around, take them out, and put them into the soil. I'll grow them. So my DNA, my plants connect with me and know me. It's a very old culture. It's a old way of doing things. It's nothing new with that way of doing. I don't know if some of you guys do that. I don't know. Let me know. Share in the comments if some of you do that when you plant your plants, to embed your DNA into the seedlings that you're about to grow. But it's the same way with animals. You connect with your animals. Now, when you step outside, yesterday or the day before, and yesterday and the day before, the birds migrated back. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen how birds migrate back, but they don't just migrate by ones. They usually migrate by flocks. Like they come in together. They come in like, boo. And yesterday, I was sitting out there doing my meditation, and all of a sudden, I hear this screaming of blue jays. and they were just happy to be back on my block. They love the tree, I guess, that I'm there. And they were just screaming. There must have been 100 blue jays. I've never seen that many. I don't even recall that ever happening before. I can't recall that event ever had taken place, in my lifetime, where I actually witnessed that. And it was just this mass of birds, and they just all landed, and they were just screaming and cocking and doing what blue jays do. Blue jays are really aggressive birds too, so all the other birds like, oh damn, they're here. You know, they like to eat other birds, unfortunately, but a little bit of carnivore side. But there's a connection. There's this ebb and flow, and there's this rhythm that they have, and that's what they do. Because I tell you, it's crazy when blue jays attack a nest. It really makes me sad because I couldn't save any little birdies sometimes, but they just take them. Crows do that too. But nature has a balance. Nature has a way of keeping things in a certain rhythm. But it was good to see the blue jays, and they were happy to be back. And then they dispersed off into their little spaces and areas wherever they go. And sometimes they'll come back into the yard and create a little chaos like they do. But blue jays are cute little guys, and they're wonderful. But I just know that they're just a little toughians. They're just a little aggressive sometimes with the other bird species around them. But if you get a chance to see birds migrating in, it's amazing. Now the hummingbirds are coming. I think I need to put out some sugar water. And with sugar water, you want to be able to do have it 2-3 days, maybe 4 max. Make sure that you only leave it for that long, then replace it, clean it. The best way, my friend said, is make it four parts, 1 cup of water, 1 part sugar and 3 parts water, depending on the size, whatever you're going to use. She likes to make a gallon of that and have it ready so she can just put it out when she needs to and replace it. So it's a good idea, but you have to replace the water when you're doing your hummingbirds because you can get them sick and it can create mold in the water. So and then the ants come too. So just clean it up once they it's 3 or 4 days have passed, and then you can go into that, adding more stuff to it. So those are ideas for hummingbirds. Now, of course, there's different types of plants and different types of things, but they're beautiful, beautiful things. So now the animals, when they come in, they also have their messages for you. Many animals that we see come into our space and share, and they come. Right now we're having an inundation of rabbits. I don't know if you guys are having a lot of rabbits in your yards, but man, are we having rabbit stew or something? But my dog's been trying to catch one for quite some time, and I don't think she's ever going to. But she got one year, like 4 years ago. She got one, and she didn't want to give it up, and we pretty much had to let it go. And she left us the rabbit's foot. I guess that's for good luck. But she made sure that she lets them know that she's on top of it. And the most beautiful thing is, I was sitting with my wife on the patio furniture, the table there, and I could see the little sparrows coming around. They're always the first ones. They never really truly leave, but they're coming around. They're flying. They like to drink out of the dog bowl, but they really like to come up to the table, and they like to come up on the. I have like a pan, like a deep dish pan, pizza pan that I got from the restaurant before I closed down, and I put some rocks in it. Create this little place where they can kind of jump on and drink water. So that's what they do. They'll come up there and they'll jump on and they'll drink their water. And then I told my wife, I said, watch this little bird. Don't look at him. Just let him. Just invite him in. Just say, come on in, come on in. And she was shocked. She's like, oh my God, that bird's just drinking out of there. He's not even afraid of you. I said, he's not afraid of me, but he's more afraid of the dog. So Lulu sees him and she's like, Arr! Scares him off. And she's scaring him off. 2 or other ones are drinking down by the dog pan. So they're kind of like, okay, you scare her off and have her scare you off, and we'll drink from the pan and we'll just swap around. And they have this language, and it's so cute to see them. And then I had those sparrow. He was collecting strings that I had off from a couple years ago from a trestle I had where I was growing some green beans, and he was having a hard time getting them off. So I went over there, took them off, and I put them down, and then he came back and he took them. I dropped him some seeds, and they ate the seeds, and we have this little connection now with the sparrows. They're just they're holding space and being loving and sharing. I got bluebirds in my yards, which is amazing. It's pretty cool to see the bluebirds too. And the bluebirds are amazing because They have a really beautiful sound. Then I have some wrens. The wrens are real little. They're little teeny ones, and they have their music too. And then I have some recordings of them from last year, and I will play them sometimes. And then the finch come in as long as the thistles are growing right. So it's pretty cool to see all these creatures. So it's pretty amazing to be connected with them. Get a little swig of water here. So you want to invite nature into your yard and have that connection with them. You have to create it, um, and help them to connect with you. It depends what you want to bring in your yard too. You bring in if you put corn down, you're going to bring in squirrels. And squirrels are funny because they tore apart my. I left my pillows out last year, and they tore apart my lawn furniture pillows, and they took all the stuffing out. And then the other birds started taking the stuffing out of the pillows too. It was quite a sight because I have a camera, my Ring camera, and I can watch them sometimes. And I'm like, man, you guys are jacking up my furniture, man. And it's a funny thing to see them do that. But it's beautiful to watch. I had earlier this year, this huge buck came into my yard, and with her, her doe, you know, and she was. I'm sure they were just migrating wherever they migrate. But I tell you, it was big. My dog's big, and my dog looks small, and they were probably 100 yards away from each other. And I'm like, oh man, oh no, this is bad news. He was just staring her down. He had his antlers up, and he was a 7 point. He didn't quite at 8. And I'm like, this is bad. I said, Lulu, you need to get over here, like right now. I tell you, you know. I appreciate you guys giving me hearts and stuff. I appreciate that. But anyhow, I was just floored how big and how majestic these animals can be, and how wild and potentially very dangerous if you're not careful, because they're protecting their space. This is their home. This is their ancestral lands. These are the lands that their ancestors walked through. My house just happens to be on the path of it, and they have to go around it. But they can sense it. They have this inner sense, this inner connection to Mother Earth and what to do with it. And so when you see deer and they're running across, it's because that's their ancestral home. They have their own personal GPS inside their brains and their minds and their heart in connection to what is theirs. We don't see it because we don't truly have the ancestral homes that we have like we used to. Some of us have grown and moved, and we park ourselves in different countries and different lands and different states and stuff. Just the same way we have our ancestral lands, we have our ancestral roads, we have our paths, the way we take things. But we have to be open minded that nature works much differently. There's a coyote that runs through my front of my yard almost every morning. I don't see him every morning, but I know he runs because every morning I'm up looking out the window at a certain time. He's going through there, and I'm thinking, wow, he's just doing his thing. He's either hunting a rabbit down or going back home after a long night of hunting, or whatever he was doing. But it's like right in my neighborhood. This is right in my backyard. All the beautiful things I have. It's beautiful to go out in nature, like deep in the woods and the country and stuff, and see these things. But when we look close in our yards, there's so much potential, so much power, so much things that are happening, so many amazing things that you're seeing. So it's a beautiful sight. And in shamanism, we call in the animals, and the animals work with us through a connection, a spirit, an understanding. Our dog, our cat, the birds, the crows. The crows about magic, creating magic. The blue jays about creating space and creating healthy limits and boundaries for ourselves. So when you start to look at the creatures and the animals that are connected with, they kind of tell you the story of who they are and what they do and how they do it. The thing is, are you paying attention? Are you listening? Sometimes we see animals and we go, "Wow, that there must be a message there." Well, the message is pay attention. Look at nature. Sure, there could be a message, and yeah, there might be a message. Yeah, there might be something that they're telling you. But the thing is to understand is that the creatures that we see, they're like you and me. They're existing. They're doing their thing. And it's a beautiful thing to watch them as they create their environments. But they also create their environments with you. Like when I work out in the mornings, I'll put my phone on. I'll turn on the music. Sparrows love it. They just come and they'll sit on the gutter and they'll be like, "Hey, we're dancing, mm, we're moving." Hey, mm, mm, mm." they just like the music I work out to. It's funny, you know. And then they'll come down and get their water, and then they're like, it's like chirping. They're like, "Ah, Iggy's back on. He's back on the porch and he's working out. Yeah, we're working out with Iggy. Sparrow dance." But they've this year, I mean, never really had a connection with them, which is kind of funny. This year, I've actually had more of a stronger connection with them. They're more connected to me this year than they have been in many years. But I whistle to them. My neighbor has two dogs. He lives like over by the fence, and I'll be like, "Hey, blondos." I call them blondos because they're blonde dogs, and they'll come to the fence, and my dog just jumps off the porch and she gets excited because she can see her buddies. And then my other dog, friend's dog next door, her name is Ruby, but I call her Ruby Tuesdays. I don't know if you guys remember Ruby Tuesdays. It's a bar on it's on Summit Street, I think, but it's also Ruby Tuesdays restaurant too. And I say Ruby Tuesday, and my dog and their dog just go back against the fence. They just jockey back and forth, saying hello to each other in a weird, awkward, strange way that they do. And then once in a while, Scooby Doo will jump down and go, "Hey, I'm here too." And she's like really old. She's like, I'm coming too. I'm coming too. It's just funny. It cracks me up to watch how the interaction, how dogs and cats and all these nature and everything just coexists and is existing in the same space and time, and they're all doing their own individual thing. They're all doing their own and navigating the world the way they see it and how they think it's fit best, either by sheer understanding that this is how they are, but they're all doing something. They're all creating something. The birds are out there creating nests, creating and procreating again, and doing and passing information along to the next generation. Some of them make it, some of them don't, but it's funny to watch. It's cool to watch how nature is. Then you watch your plant life, and your plant life just blooms one day, just explodes from the rains that come. We had these amazing rains, and boom, they say April showers bring May flowers. Man, there's truth to that. And I still have things to grow yet and things to plant because it still hasn't. I'm afraid. There's always one more frost before we hit that place. But not sure if we're gonna get that. I kind of have that weird feeling that we're just gonna go straight in. And the seasons have also kind of changed and they become a little bit different than I'm accustomed to. It feels like winter's not so long. It's long, but it feels like we go right into spring really quick. It's like boom. It's just like we're there. And then we're connected again. So in the work I do is to be an observer of everything and just being present for the person who's healing. And so I'm also here, being present and being open minded to the healing that's going to occur to the individuals who I work with. And one of the things is to remind people to reconnect with earth, reconnect with spirit, reconnect with the plants, reconnect with the grass, reconnect with things. We're so disconnected. And, even the best of us who think that we're really connected, oh, I'm really connected. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, you are. But if you're driving a car, you're going down the road and you're doing your thing and you're distracted, you know, most of the time we're not thinking about, oh, well, I'm connected to the earth driving. But, life can get a hold of us sometimes and spank us and put us in a weird situation. But I just tell you, take off your shoes, go outside, feel your toes against the grass and just wiggle them in there. You'll be surprised the great things that come from that. Just the most simplistic things can help us ground. Grounding our bodies to the earth, feeling the energy coursing up through us, connecting with her. If you don't think that happens, it does happen. It is very powerful medicine. Tree hugging is very powerful for those of you who like trees. Just laying in the ground. And if you could be naked on the ground, which would be a scary thought for people in my neighborhood to see me skating. But if you can lay naked in the ground, seriously, I'm not joking, and you can feel that ground, it will change things in your body. It will heal things in your body. Just walking barefooted alone heals your body. They have these mats you can put your feet on, grounding mats. That stuff helps and works, and it does miracle stuff. Do some research on it. Don't if you have any questions about what I'm sharing with you, just fact check me. Check it out, because that's kind of where we're at in this world. We fact check the people who share the information, make sure they're saying something right. You might you might discover that there's something even better. You might discover that I missed something. So that's great. If you did, if I missed something, then you can share it with me. You know how to get a hold of me. But connection to nature is very powerful. Nature is to be observed. It's also to be uh, intertwined in your life and make it part of your life, not something we just see out of our windows or take pictures. I know all of us have amazing pictures of stuff, but get connected. Like if you take a picture of a tree, let's just say, after you take that picture, just the sheer energy and the sheer, respect that you have for that tree is just should be 10 times full. You know, this planet was just full of life, green life. I had a teacher once told me that there were so many trees in North America, in this part of this country, that a squirrel could travel from one part of the country to the other without even leaving the trees. Didn't have to go to the ground. And I thought, wow, that's some dense forest. And it's pretty amazing, the things that you can see and things that you can encounter. But we have to be open minded. We have to be open minded and be willing to receive. When we're open minded and willing to receive, we get a lot of benefit from that. So when I talked about plant medicine, sure, your food is plant medicine. The things that you eat that are vegetables, the things that you eat are their greens. It's there to heal you. You eat it, it has sustenance, it has iron, it has minerals. You know, to get true minerals from into your body, and you get it from plants. You know, and I always talk to people, and they always tell me, "Hey, you know, you eat meat." I said, "But you're a shaman." I said, "Yeah, but I have a sacred contract with, and my dog's howling because it's 12 o'clock and it's noon. But I have a sacred contract with this animal, and I honored it and blessed it. You know, there she goes. Can you hear her? Good old Lulu. But plant medicine is important because also the animal eats plants. So there's some truth and validity to why you feed an animal a certain thing, and it has a certain thing in its muscles and it's in the meat that you eat. There's a connection, and why you take that sustenance into your body. But I'm a true and firm believer that you must pray over your food, have ceremony on your food, give thanks to anything you eat. It doesn't matter if it's a piece of lettuce or a piece of candy bar or a big flank of meat or whatever. You have to have connection with it, because if you don't have connection with it, then it's just like anything you're putting in your body, right? And it's not going anywhere. Remember the sacred contracts that we make with everything, with the people we love, the people we care about. We also have the sacred contract with plants, animals. And I repeated this before because I think it's important to know. Now, our connection, is never truly severed because we're always in nature, because nature is always around us. But it's more about being observant and being involved and intricately, designed with it in absorbing it and using it to our benefit. Because the earth loves us. The earth loves when we walk on her, barefooted, and when we're connected to her. She feels us. She can. She feels this in her personal heart, and we feel it in her heart. We feel so much better when we walk barefoot, when we're laying on the ground and we're soaking in the sun. And we're not even talking about the sun yet. We haven't even gotten that far, but the sun is another powerful ally too, that helps us, absorbs us, and we absorb energy from the sun, as do our compadres, the plants. The mushrooms are another kingdom, another phylum, where they have a whole different, way of connecting to Earth. They're more like us. They breathe. It breathes, in a different way. But it's fine. It's amazing, the mycelium networks on the plants, and now everything is just so connected. You know, the mycelium connection goes underwater. It travels all over the world. It goes all under. It's not just little location. It's all connected. All these trees learn a way to connect. Even the tree that's in a potted plant learns to connect at levels we can't understand, that we don't know. We want to think that we're smart. Kind of like we have our Wi-Fi, we have our towers that we call, G5, 10G, whatever you call them, 4G, 5G. You know, Plants work the same way, and they connect through the ground and through the top of the air. What you see above a tree is what you see below a tree. So if your tree is sick, it's probably sick. If it looks great, it looks great underneath too. We just have to know and learn. How do you learn? Talk to it, communicate with it, speak to it. You know how you say talk to your plants, they grow, they get stronger? Is because there's an exchange of CO2 and oxygen, yes, but it also is a sentient being. They have also done studies where they said plants actually feel pain. But not pain like we feel pain, but they feel a sort of pain. There's also I've seen these little modules, these little machines that they plug little nodes onto them, or they put these little clips on them and then they make sound. I also saw a video the other day where a tree was having a conversation. It was based through AI, but it was having a conversation with the person. Person asked a question, the tree responded through this aperture that there was there. So it's just wild where we're going and how we're communicating and how we're stepping into this space with our tree brethren. So that's basically kind of what I want to talk about today. Now that we're finishing out the month, April showers bringing May flowers. Be more observant, be connected. Pray over your food, connect with your food, have a ceremony, say an incantation, say something so you can connect with your food, and your food will go into your body in a blissful way, in a harmonious way, you know, because frequency is where we resonate in. That creates harmony, what creates a balance of sorts. That harmony is what we work for. Harmony is what we really, truly work for, to be in a harmonious state of being. Because if we're in a harmonious state of being, we can connect with things. So always be working on you. Always be connecting on you. Sure, you're your source energy, like we all are, but we are all part of this planet. We are all connected to this planet. When this planet goes, we all go, dead or alive, and we become a reconstituted energy. We become something very new. And one day, we will not be here. One day, some of us will leave, because that's our journey. That's our paperwork. We come in, we leave. Everything in between, in the middle, is for us to experience and to, just have an amazement with it. We can do whatever we want in the middle. And there are many paths we can take. And those paths that you take, choose them wisely. Some paths will shut off and close off and go into another direction, create another parallel version. There are so many strings, so many strings, so many strings that are connected to us, that in any direction we go, we create a new version of ourselves. And then these just fade away. They fade away. Not fade away like never to be used again, but they just fade away from the path we're on. That's why living in the moment is so powerful. That's why being here in the moment with me and with each other is powerful, because there really is no future. There really is no past. It's where we're at here. We just move into this space. Yes, there are things that happened to us in the past. There are things that we experienced and things that we gather our information from, base our filing cabinet from, that help us project us into the next movements into the future, which is actually the moment. So when we think about the future, we're in the moment. We just got there at a different time. So when we're here, just know that this is powerful. This is medicine. This is like where we need to be. Why are we here? We don't have to get lost in the whys, but ask yourself once in a while, why am I here? Why am I here in this particular moment, listening to this particular podcast and sharing what I have to share, or hear what I have to hear? What is it that Iggy's sharing? What is it that I'm learning from you by reading your comments? What is it that, that I have to talk and speak about, as my ancestors created the space for me to share what I had to share? It's just to remember that all the things that we went through mold us and create us to become a better version of ourselves, so we don't either be hurt by those things or to be aware of those things, not to, integrate with us or hurt us. But in the end, that we always have choice where we want to go and how we want to flow, or what we want to bring into our life and what we want to bring into our space and create and create that energy inside of us that either helps us or blocks us. It's as easy to say I am well, I'm doing good, I'm doing better. I am, the positive affirmation is good, but also once in a while we got to just think a little bit, not too long, think a little bit, where we came from. Okay. But I'm not that version. I'm a different version. I'm that person, but I'm not that person. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're no longer yesterday. Like yesterday, you're not the same person from yesterday. Because yesterday you learned a lot of things about who you are and what you learned, and now you're this new version of yourself, this new incarnation. You know this. Sorry, my phone's ringing. I don't know why, but creating this incarnation, of yourself. So, with that, I just want to say, do the best you can in the moments you have, and try to be the better version of yourself every day. Be open to the possibilities, and let God surprise you. Connect with your higher source, connect with spirit, you know, have a ceremony, have a prayer, have something. Even if you're not a believer, even if you have your thoughts of being an atheist, just give thanks for the things and the people who are in your life, because you know what? They bring joy and happiness to you, and that's important. And just say, you know what? I acknowledge you. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to live in that so whatever world, you know. It's just funny, just be who you can be. I hope you guys enjoyed my show. I hope you enjoyed this time with me. I invite you to come to the Drum Circle in Gahanna at 2 p.m. for the grief drumming, and it's open to the public. That's in Gahanna, Ohio, at the Gahanna Metropolitan Library. And so, with that, I just want to say thanks, guys. I really appreciate you. Thank you for all that you bring to my life. Thank you for all the things that you share. And be open to the aha moments. When I say it's good to be here, it's good to be here. I mean that. That's my, those are my words. It's good to be here. When I'm not feeling well, that's what brings me into that space, into that energy. All right, guys. You have a great day. Have a good time. And I will see you soon. Be well. It's good to be here. And I'll see you next time.